Okay, so let's start. So join by your name, last request, because after 5 minutes, I will remove the candidates who are not with their names, like the candidates with the name of Samsung, especially. So before moving ahead, thanks everyone for joining. And last year, September, we have 45 candidates, and this time we have something like the actual candidates because there are a few of my postgrad trainees. The actual candidates were sitting the exam are close to 60, 61 or 62. So that's great because if there are more candidates, they can interact with each other in the group. And mostly what I used to do, apart from these sessions, I give, mock exams to the candidates. I give voucher codes to them and they can do mock exam on my website. That is www.prepauthor.com. And we do once these sessions are ended, we do WhatsApp discussion. We used to share 10, 15, 20 MCQs every day, just 1 month before the exam, and we used to discuss them. But I'm thinking this time that we'll start discussing ahead because I have a lot of MCQs, so we can discuss a lot of MCQs. So I hope everyone knows me. For whom they just came on reference, I'm Dr. Ais Khan. I'm a professor of orthodontics, and that's all. So moving to the party, I will tell you the basic things. So I would share a 10 slide presentation here about the basics of the exams. I will ask few questions like if there are any questions, and then I will give you a brief history how the MCQs develop, how to solve the MCQs, right? So as we all know, there are 180 MCQs in total, and they are divided into two parts, right? So the paper is conducted in two parts on the same day and almost the same time throughout the world. Sometimes, due to logistic issues, um, there's 1 or 2 hours difference, but it do not happens that one of the candidates are out from paper A, right? Like party or the session one of the exam, and the other candidates are not still in the center. So always reach the examination center 1 or 2 hours before because especially in few countries like Pakistan, I've heard about Egypt, that it happened in the past for physical exam and that the venue was changed. In fact, in Pakistan, once the venue was changed from one place to another place, and they're not well managed because they asked the British embassy or this British consul to conduct the exam. They just sent one examiner who is going to share all these, papers with everyone. So that's why they are not very organized. So at least 1.5 hour before the exam, go there, right? So there are total of 180 MCQs divided in two parts, 90 minutes in the first part and 90 minutes in the other part. So the usual trend is that, uh, sorry, not 90 minutes, 90 MCQs in the first part, and that is 2 hours. So the usual trend is that the paper A is easy, means till last year when they were in the third year of conducting the exam, or in fact the fourth year, they were making paper easy. The initial 8, 10, 15 questions were easy. Then the middle of the questions were difficult. Then the last 10, 15 questions were easy, right? So after the paper A, or the first session is over, most of the candidates have a feeling of well-being. But in this year, 24, most of the paper, especially the September 2024 paper, that was very tough, right? The initial 90 questions were very tough. And when they went back, the rest of the questions were relatively easy and repeated questions. So pass mark 62 point, that is the average. Over the years, that is the average. I'll share on the next slide that how the average goes. So the time duration is 2 hours. So this is roughly 1 minute and 20 seconds. And for some questions, you might even need 2 minutes. They're so tough and so long, right? So there are 6, 7 liners with options also in 2 lines, 3 lines. Other questions are small questions. Previously, like what small questions were They were giving you the safety signs, that what this safety sign means. Even now for the safety sign, they've given a safety sign, and they've given long options for it, that where do you see this safety sign? And then where do you see the safety sign, in the sterilization room or in the dental office, and then long options. So even now the safety sign is not taking 10 seconds. Previously they were taking 10 seconds. Now you have to give a read and they take at least 20 to 30 seconds. And the second session, the paper, like usually they are tough questions. The initial questions are very, very tough. And then the middle questions starting from somewhere 40, they're easy. And the last questions are also considered very tough, right? So one thing with the candidates usually confused, they believe that they are going to get that paper back, like in the first session, and when they will go back, the paper will come, that would be given back to them. So that is not going to happen. Once the session one is over, there's 1 or 2 hours break, depending on the, logistics they have. So they at least give 45 minutes break between the two sessions. They will take you the papers from you, the answer sheet and the question papers you, and that is not going to come back, right? That is submitted. So you're not getting bad, because some people believe that when we go to the in the session two, if we have missed something, we are going to, recheck them. So this is not going to happen. So 90 minutes, sorry, 120 minutes, 90 MCQs. And you have to do them. And then once it's, taken, it's taken. They are not coming back. So as there's no negative marking, so people used to solve all the questions, right? Usually that's a feeling after the exam, like we need to solve all the questions. That is not the case. If we go on the pass percentage, that is from 112 to 118 MCQs, correct MCQs you are supposed to answer. And even that's a percentile exam, right? Means if everyone is correcting all the MCQs correct, then 100% of the MCQs would be numbered. If there's a question on which, a specific number of candidates fail to answer, that question is omitted, right? And if if a question is answered, so that's why it's a percentile exam. That depends that how much questions are included in the exam, because some questions are omitted depending on the level of the difficulty. Some very difficult questions are omitted, so it's a percentile exam. So to be on the safe side, 112 to 118 question. The theme is, sometimes people start reading autism. Now autism is 140-page document. There's no time for that to read 140-page document just for one MCQs. So it's better choice to leave that MCQs if it's there, right? Because you're not there to, to correct all the MCQs. So what is the usual pattern to read in MCQs? We'll discuss. But the best thing is read the scenario, right? Do not read the option. Think about the option. Once you're sure that this is the option, then read the options. Once you have read the option after the scenario, you become very, very confused, because these MCQs are meticulously developed and 2 or 3 options are very close to each other. So once you have read those options, you become confused. So the best thing is read the situation, then the scenarios, right? Read the question, and then think about the possible option, and then eventually move on to the correct options. So we are good. No one else is joining. Okay. What is the usual pattern to read an MCQs? Answer versus scenarios, I told you. What about the question we left? Usually do not leave a question, right? Like if it's the last 10 minutes, 5 minutes, and you have 10 questions left, just, you know, you on the answer sheet, highlight the, answers, whatever answers you have. Then go through the questions, right? And whatever time you get, if there's a need for correction, you can do correction there. Just highlight the options. Might be you have a good luck, and you can solve this question. I remember I got a student in final year 14 years back. Now he's a prosthodontist, and he was not a good student. So my a demonstrator told me that this can, like, but out of 50, 34 MCQs are corrected and he passed the exam. So Actually, I was, very much shocked because he was not a good student. I went, I just checked his paper, and what he did, he checked A on all the MCQs, and A option was correct in 34 MCQs, right? So he actually
Hmm.
passed that without reading a single thing. So the point is that go through every question, but as there's no negative marking, if you are a little short in time, just highlight the options in the answer sheet, right? Do not leave any question blank. So any questions till now? Anyone having any question?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. This is slide just to share the trend, right? So one of the most difficult exam, if you see the pass mark, that was 60.45. That was back in 2020. And then because at that time the exam was, new and people do not know a lot about the exam. There was also not a lot of collection of MCQs with the people. So the pass percentage was not great. With time, they start repeating their question over and over again. Like I'll give you the example last year, September 23. Um, Out of 180, 114 or 115 questions were repeated. So people who only got this old bank of MCQs from the telegrams, YouTube, WhatsApp groups, they simply pass the exam without studying a single thing from the books, right? But now, and this year, September, in which only most of them are our local candidates, like what I know from the candidates in the Edinburgh Center, in the Birmingham Center, there were 27 candidates from, Greater London, means Kings, Queens Mary, Liverpool, even from Manchester. And rest in Edinburgh Center, there was obviously Edinburgh candidates and some foreign candidates. So the pass percentage was not good, right? And even the pass marks, if you see, the MCQs were very, very tough. Like they shared new MCQs in that bank, and only 30% MCQs or 40 MCQs were repeated. So the pass marks was 60.85. And I hardly know anyone till now because most were international candidates. I only got three international candidates in that exam. The local candidates in that exam. And mostly those people do not share their numbers, these things. So I like I do not know anyone who got more than 70%. While in May, more than 80% was just normal. So this was a May diet, right? In 24. So 80% was just normal at that time. Now hardly someone gets 70% because people I know 60, they are between 63 to 68%. Okay, 60% the MCQs are up to 5 to 7 lines. Now make it like 60% 5 to 7 lines. Rest of the 30% from 2 to 3 lines. And also the options are 2 liners, 3 liners, means each option 2 line, 3 line. So in 60% of the question, they actually ensure that you spend 1.5 minutes on those questions. So there are only 10% of the questions which are just one-liners, one-liner questions and one-liner options. Sometimes giving these, aligner attachments, those are one-liners. As I told you, safety signs, those are 1 or 2 liners, and then the options are also one-liners. So most of the MCQs are complete by the picture. So what I actually noticed, because when the exam was online, they were showing a lot of pictures there, right? So what I actually noticed that if you see the actual MCQs, they make sense. They are quite logical because we people get the MCQs from the candidates. Sometimes they are just one-liner, right? Sometimes but they haven't given us the options. So the problem is many times we make the options ourselves just going through the scenario. Other times they have given 2 or 3 options. So we have to think about the options, right? Like we have to add more options. And sometimes they just made a hand-drawn picture. So we have to look for the pictures ourselves, right? And sometimes that picture is not an accurate description. So The actual MCQs are relatively easy than the MCQs we find on Telegram. You might find it on my website or what I'm going to share, what I've collected it. So, but the theme is that you must have an essence that what's the topics that are coming and how to solve a certain question. Like many times people call me and they ask me that, like, we only need MCQs from you. We'll solve on our own. So the thing is not just close your mics for the time being. If you have a question, you can ask. So the theme is that you must understand the essence of the question because now 20, 30 questions are repeated. Other 30, 40 questions, they are the same questions, coming again and again. Like there's a famous question about communication that there's a guard called Carol. It's coming every time. It was back in 2020, and even now in September, this exam was there, right? So those questions are coming in again, some question coming again and again. Other question, they are slightly changing the things. Like consent question, they might be giving the same question, but might be in September died, the age would be 15, and now the age would be 16. So if someone do not have the concept, they will change minor details, right? And they will keep the option same. So you'll make a incorrect option, right? So it's more important to have the essence of the question. And it's also important that might be you get the same question in the exam and you believe that this is only option. So always double check the question that whether the scenario is the same or not, right? Because many people out of emotions went to the same option. So yes, the questions are repeated. Sometimes they made small changes. And because of those small changes, the options changes, right? So for each 90 questions you are going to get in the first and the second session, those would be on A4 side pages, and that would be something like I would say 45 to 55 pages what candidates have told me. So it's a very big booklet, right? So sometimes there's a very very big scenario, right, and you are very short in time, so it's better to spend time on things which you know and do not spend time on things which you do not know. Might be it's a topic about peer assessment rating and you're not good in peer assessment rating, you haven't tried it, so just leave it there, right, and try to solve a question that is based on IOTN, that is more easy to solve. So any question on this slide? If there's no question, I move to the next.
Doctor, sorry.
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Um, is there any related questions to the PAR assessment?
Yes, there are, but we are not going to discuss it right now.
Okay, sorry.
Just this introductory, yes, there are questions. See, previously they were giving PAR and they were, giving a lot of things about PAR, but now they are giving only one module of PAR, right? So you must know the weighing factor. And in the last 1.5 years, no such question on PAR came, right? They are not coming to calculate the PAR, they are coming to apply the PAR, right? Means you must know that
Oh,
where this question falls. Like it's a very famous question that Arthur is doing cases and his final par score is 4 and 5, but his cases are not in improved category or slightly improved category. So what type of cases he's treating, right? So now they are
okay.
doing a practical application of par rather than asking you to calculate the par. Because even in UK, there are professional websites, there are professionals who calculate the pars because they have to go for clinical audit, right? So if you do not know the par, if you do not have time to do the par, you can hire professionals in UK that can do the par for you, right? So you must on the practical thing is that you must know how to apply the par. That is more important for them rather than calculating the par.
Okay. Thank you so much.